Hello everyone, welcome to Scorcher Toys at anymoon.com's transformation guide for Bandai's DX YF-21 toy. We are going to begin in fighter mode, go to GERWALK, and end in Battroid mode. To begin with, if you haven't already, close up and put away any landing gear. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab this panel right here, and you can kind of get a finger in underneath and just kind of pull upward on it. And you can see it's connected to this center piece. Just keep pulling up, and then you can shimmy it kind of forward and up so it looks like this. And once you have it in this upper position, you can fold over that inner bay door, and you're going to repeat on the other side. In case your toy is stiff and fighting you at any point, I wanted just to show you there's a tab here, and there's a tab in the back and some smaller tabs that are tabbing into the other sections, these other panels that we're going to be getting to in a moment. There's also a slight peg in the front that's going to grab on you. So as you lift up, if any one of those areas is fighting you, that's where the positions are that you need to pry up a little further to get that going. Fold the flap over on the vertical stabilizer and push your thrust vectoring in on this side. And then just grab this piece here and pull outward. There are a few little tabs, but it's generally pretty easy to pull this out. You have this little extension here, so you can get it all the way back on top of that thrust vectoring panel. Inside, there is a little trap door that pivots forward. So go ahead and do that now. And then turn your attention to this panel here. And what we can do is it's got kind of a pull-up feature. So this just pulled up, and then you can open it up like so. Okay, now we're gonna work on the arms, and what we wanna do is grab this arm, and we're gonna lift it over, and now it does lip over on the top here. So as you do this, it's gonna grab a little bit up there, and you wanna make sure this is still folded over, and you guide it around that bay door. Now they say in the instructions that we should push down on the vertical stabilizer as one of the earlier steps, but I wait to do it till now because otherwise I find it hangs up on that wing, but I'm sure you can make it work. Once you get that arm straight up and down like this, it can rotate around like so, and then we can grab our arm up here and rotate that around also. This piece right here can then be rotated out of the way, and this piece can be recessed. Now we should have some clearance to bring the arm all the way forward. And as you do this, there's a peg right here. And what we're gonna do is get this little notch to fit underneath that peg, like so. So that kind of locks the arm into position. And then this piece here, we wanna lay it flat, and we want to push it in so it kind of feels like it locks, it pegs in a little bit. So from the other side, it should look like this and be flat and strong up against the back. And just push in, and you'll feel it kind of be snug. It doesn't quite lock into place, but it is doing its best to act as a shim that keeps that arm in its position. Now we want to get the legs free. So what we're going to do is grab this bay on the internal side here, and we're going to bring this out towards the edge to actually be able to view that leg. And then we're going to reach in and we're going to grab the knee joint, and we're going to pull out and kind of away as we do this to try to free that leg up from this housing here. So I'm going to grab it, and I'm pulling out, and I'm pulling away. And it's not really the most graceful thing, but there it goes. And they do give you all sorts of warnings about potentially scraping the paint off. Once we have it free, we rotate the leg all the way around, and then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. To free the foot, you're gonna pop open this bay door in the back, and that reveals the foot internally. So we just rotate that around like so. Go ahead and close that door back up. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull out, and not just on that front extension part, but pull that all the way out like so. And you probably saw this part slides forward as well. And then you open the foot up, and that includes bringing this heel out. And once it's out like this, we just rotate that foot all the way around, and that should be like that, and you are done. To get the legs into GERWALK position, we are now gonna reach in, and you see this metal piece right here. What we wanna do is pivot that up and out. So we're just gonna grab the leg and kind of wiggle jiggle to get that out into this position here. And then to get the legs properly positioned, kind of put your fingers on both sides and just rotate that whole knee forward. And then you can kind of get that aggressive leg stance and repeat on the other side. In theory, your backpack should look like this. Probably doesn't quite look like this, but you're just going to now put it back into that same position it was in fighter mode. And so there's some little tabs that you want to line up and get into position. And then this piece here kind of has a perfect spot that it can sink into. So just line up all your tabs, get that just like it was before we started transformation. Reach a finger in and pull out this pin here, and we're going to put that aside somewhere. Then we can push down on that central piece. You'll hear it click into place. And then there are some gap fillers on the side. We want to push those all the way to their most backward position. Now we're going to push down here and here, which unlocks the backpack, and then just push forward to get that all the way, and you'll see it'll line up with those cavity fillers that we've pushed back. All that should be left to do is put your arms in a natural position, get your legs in a natural position, tuck your bay doors up or out of the way, however you like it. Make sure everything is collapsed entirely, and now you should be able to enjoy GERWALK mode. We're going to begin our trip to Battroid mode with the cockpit canopy. Just get a fingernail in, lift this up. You're going to pull it forward. Now, we're going to do some stuff with the pilot, but ultimately, if you're using this piece here, the Battroid specific cover, which doesn't have the translucent piece, I'm not sure really how important this is, but we're going to take the pilot out. We are going to pop the seat forward. And there's a peg hole in the bottom and a slot in the back of the pilot seat. We're going to push the controls all the way down, and we're going to put the chair in so that it pegs in the back position there. Then we'll take our pilot and put him into position, grab our Battroid specific cover and push that into position, and then close this back up. And now you cannot see the pilot figure anymore, and you can rest assured that he is in the proper position. Now we're going to stand the toy up. So just bring your legs straight, and you won't have the ankles fully extended in this mode, so you're going to go ahead and recess those, and your toy should now have its legs looking something like this. You might have to rotate those bell bottoms to get them just symmetrical. Now there's a couple little pegs right here that we're going to pull out. That one came out. Why won't you come out? There we go. Those come out, and then you can see there's slots up here. So we're just going to fold this over, and it should line up and click into place. We're going to rotate our toy around, and we're going to grab the head. We're going to push forward at the top and then just shimmy it up like so. From the front now, what you're going to want to do is shimmy the head so far forward that this peg here goes into that slot right there. And so they just come together like so. And then, you know, just for good measure, continue to apply a little pressure forward, and then you can reach in and you can bring the head down. Now, it shouldn't pop off, but if yours is like mine, it will. It definitely will. Now, we're going to slip a fingernail underneath this piece here, which is kind of a lock for the back. Bring that up. Now, this back plate becomes free, and what you're going to do is reach a hand underneath, and you want to slip So I got one thumb on that center piece, bring that whole back up like so, and you can reach a finger in here and bring up these cavity fillers that we had for GERWALK mode, just like that. And we can bring the toy around, and we're gonna fold in the wings, and at the top, we're gonna fold out these pieces to get back to that fighter mode position. This part's really tough to film, so I've opened those wings back up. But what you wanna do is lean the backpack back a little bit, and that frees these two pegs here. And then what you wanna do is kind of pull up, and you can see this extension gimmick that just happened. And then that allows you to line up the upper pegs with that gray bar there. So now we can close those again, and we can grab our Battroid brace, and we can install that into this slot right here. And again, you want those in position, and we can flip the whole thing over now like so. Now we're gonna grab our backpack, and we are gonna jam it up as high as we can possibly go with it. We're about to lock a few things together, so before we do, make sure your wings are behind this adapter here, this brace I should say. If they're out, you can see it doesn't fold in and out, so you want to make sure you've done that. You might have to pop this off to fold them over. You might be able to wiggle them through, but make sure that's there. Make sure you haven't accidentally pushed your head back at all, because when we lock everything together, if it's out of position, it's not going to work very well. Now what we're going to do is bring the intakes up as far as you can. And what that does is it lines up a slot and a peg right behind the head. And I wouldn't worry too much about them. Get them lined up and then press up. And what you can do here is you get that brace right there. There's a peg in the middle of the brace, and there's also a couple pieces off to the side, so it's locking in a few different ways. And what you want to do is push up on that and in, so everything lines up like so. So that's nice and solid. As we come up to the top, the backpack is now locked in position, and you can tell it's all worked out because these pegs will be nice and flush. And if your head is in the right spot, still got some mobility there, so that's all right. And there you go, now you've got that backpack locked. Now the first time I did it, I goofed on this step. And what we wanna do is bring the hips up, but not all the way up, because that creates different problems. So as you go up, you should hear a little click. There it goes. So if you look from the side, it's sort of a 3/4 up position, and that gives you the space to bring the hip all the way out. If you go 100% up, you won't have room for that to happen, and you'll start bumping that brace off all the time. And for our final step, we'll be installing the intake fan cover, and then I haven't done anything with these skirts, so go ahead and position them whatever you think looks cool. Then go ahead and play with your toy. You are in Battroid mode. If you were hoping to get to delimiter mode, do check out my separate guide for that. If you were hoping to hear my opinions about this toy, I have a full review, a very robust review. If this helped you out, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If I screwed something up, please let me know in a comment. And as always, everybody, thanks for watching.